KMES English Medium Junior College welcomes its students for the online lecture of philosophy for Standard 12 for the chapter 6, Following the Path of Art. For the topic Aesthetic Experience, does beauty really exist or appear? The nature of art. Students, in today's lecture, we are going to study chapter 6, Following the Path of Art. In this, we are going to know what is aesthetic experience. We are going to understand does beauty really exist or appear, and the nature of art, what type of art it is. Aesthetic experience. Aesthetic or artistic experience is an outcome of the developed sense of beauty in humans. This awareness makes it possible for us to have aesthetic experience. Aesthetic or philosophy of art discuss the nature of aesthetic experience in which we enjoy nature or the work of art. Sensory experience of a particular person is at the base of aesthetic experience. However, it is not confined to sensory experience. It affects our emotion, thoughts, imagination, etc. The memory of these experiences linger in our mind. Sometimes it invokes old memories. The relationship between these experiences, we tend to find out something new about ourselves, the society and the world we live in. You might have had such experience while watching a film or a play. You can actually feel how sensory experience, emotion, thought and imagination connect with one another with the tenderness. Aesthetic experience provides a magic touch to our daily monotonous and somewhat mechanical life. A particularity of aesthetic experience is such that it always pleasurable. However, this pleasure is quite different than the pleasure we otherwise get through sensory experience. This difference provides a key to know the particularity of aesthetic experience, the joy of observing the beautiful landscape, reading a poem that touches our heart, a deep satisfaction of watching a beautiful play. You have tried to understand the nature of this experience. You can compare it with the joy of eating your favorite food or with the joy of getting something as a gift that you dreamt of having, or with the joy of winning a tournament. If not, do try. Let us try and understand how this comparison is possible with the help of the following example. Imagine an orange color, fresh, sweet, smelling mango is placed in front of you. The sight would make you feel happy. You would also feel like having it. Just a sight of mango would not be sufficient. We would be happy only if we get to eat it. In contrast to this, a sculpture or a painting would make us happy even with a sight. The ownership of the painting or the sculpture would not be the only condition to make us happy about it. Works of art are preserved in Arts Museum. Maharashtra has many rock-cut caves and temples of artistic design with a rich collection of sculpture. They give us joy in the same way. The sight of breathtaking values from the mountain top, deep forest, stream give us pure joy. We are blossomed by the sweet calls of birds. These examples reveal that aesthetic experience is not dependent on individual want, desire, inspiration, or an expectation. German philosopher Kant called aesthetic experience as disinterested delight. According to Kant, the joy that we find in the aesthetic experience is not dependent on a practical, utilitarian or ethical value of a nature object or a work of art. Thus, this joy is disinterested, pure. The experience that brings us joy is called aesthetic experience. Are you wondering why we are not discussing beauty while talking about the aesthetic experience? Although aesthetic experience is basically an experience of beauty, you are right. It is not an easy task. Generally, when we like a particular person and object, a sense we may call it beauty. But we do not use the word beauty every time to describe our feeling. In everyday life, many a time we may say it's nice, this is good, or I like it very much. Adjective are also changes from time and generation. Do you not say awesome, text, amazing as synonym to beauty many a time? So let's study what does beauty mean. Does beauty really exist or appear? Philosophy discusses many problems and issues related to the concept of beauty. When we use the adjective beautiful for a particular object, we believe that beauty lies in that object. Thus, these qualities exist in the object like its other qualities as color, form, smell, and weight. We would be able to show it if the answer to this question was affirmative. We would not have engaged debating on whether a particular thing is beautiful or not. At least we would be able to resolve the issue in an objective way. Whether a particular thing is heavy or lightweight would be a matter of subjective experience. Its weight, however, can be measured in an objective way. Beauty cannot be judged in such objective and impersonal manner. In the history of Western philosophy in Greek and medieval era, beauty was believed to be an objective quantity, that is, as a quantity inherent in the object. They analyze it on the basis of structure of an object. An object is made up of many elements. They give rise to different qualities of this object. If these elements are structured in a proper manner, meaning if there is a harmony, balance, proportionality, similarity and rhythmic in them, the object would be called as beautiful. Thus these elements were identified as elements of beauty. Since these elements were in the object, beauty was though of an objective characteristic. David Hume, a well-known philosopher, challenged this view in the modern era. Hume found that beauty does not lie in the object. It is not an objective element. It depends on the person who experiences it. A statement that something is beautiful is not an objective statement. It is very much subjective. As the saying goes, Leela is beautiful only in the eye of Manju. It implies that beauty lies in the eye of a beholder, not in the object. So the question arises, is beauty really there or not? It appears. Some philosophers after Hume tried to argue that beauty is both subjective as well as objective. The other questions related to the objectivity and subjectivity of beauty are, can we define beauty? Can we fix the criteria of beauty? You have learned many definitions of science and mathematics. Definition explains the meaning of the term concept with concept. A definition talks about the quality that is present in all the objects denoted by the term. For example, definition of triangle. A triangle is a closed figure of three straight lines joining at three different points. This definition of triangle summarizes essential qualities of any given triangle as and at the same time. It also highlights that the triangle is distinctive from any other geometrical figure. If all these things that we call beautiful, essential, possess a particular property, we may be able to define beauty. Some philosophers have made an effort. However, according to many philosophers and thinkers, such a definition is not possible. If we agree that beauty is not an objective quantity, it becomes impossible to define beauty. As definition has to be objective, if the idea of beauty changes from person to person, one cannot come up with an objective definition of beauty. It is clear that if aesthetic experience is a subjective term, there would never be a criteria of beauty that are acceptable to all. You must have such an experience that your friends do not like the story that you like, a building or a structure that you did not like at all rewards great appreciation by others. These examples indicate that it is very difficult to determine the criteria of beauty and to define it. The diversity in art form makes the task of objective definition even more difficult. Every art form has its own particularities, which are different from others. Beauty of an work of an art can only be discussed within the framework of property of a given art form. Can we have the common criteria to discuss the aesthetic work of abstract painting as music notes, a novel, and a movie? Culture history teaches us that the criteria of beauty changes from time to time and from place to place. Fairness has regarded as a mark of beauty once. However, now we do not think of. There is beauty in every color. We now believe that the folk art form and aesthetic as value as a classic art form. There is a tradition in Sanskrit literature to end the play as a happy note. Many plays follow the same. However, plays like Vasa and Bhagavati challenge this tradition. Aesthetically, their play are considered considerably as equal value. Other important aspect of beauty is that the thing that we do not find beautiful in a real life appear beautiful when we find them in work of art. We would not find a roadside garbage pile beautifully. However, if painting can be beautiful, we can evaluate such painting on the basis of aesthetic norms. Aesthetic discuss art, aesthetic experience related to work of art in general, the nature of artistic experience. Before we get into the discussion, let us get acquainted with the nature of art and the history of art. The nature of art. While thinking about art, it is essential to think about the work of art, the artist who created it and the recipient who enjoyed it. It is important to note here that art is essentially man-made. An artist has the ability to create the thing that may not be found in real world. Art is thus an expression of human creativity. The same quality also makes it possible to make other good instruments and objects. If we look at the human history, we will find that initially these types of creation went hand in hand. Just as humans have been knower and doer, they also have been artistic and receiver since ancient times. Research has found evidence of human craftsmanship and art making right from Stone Age. Remember the painting of Bhim Bitka, that we saw last year. We call it a painting of work of art, but we do not call the tool found in the same era as artwork. It implies that in order to be called as a work of art, it is essential but not sufficient for an object to be man-made. It also takes certain other qualities. It is evident that a rainbow is not a work of art because it is not man-made. But we cannot call a bow that is used in hunting a piece of art just because it is man-made. Suppose a bow is made with flowers and petals, it would be then classified as a work of art because it is not only man-made but it has no real practical use. It is made only to please the artist and for these who appreciate. We have talked about such pleasure when we discuss aesthetic experience. The point to be additionally noted here is that every art experience need not only limit itself to the experience of beauty. Philosophy of art discusses different forms of art, commonly referred to as fine art. Fine arts include many arts forms such as literature, music, dance, drama, painting, sculpture, etc. Where appreciation is the main motive behind creativity and not the utility of things, such art forms are called as fine art. Humans make various objects. Many of them are useful and artistically appealing at the same time. We buy clothes, vehicles, cell phones. We not only see the utility aspect in them, we also see their artistic appeal too. However, their utility is their primary value. As against this, we appreciate a poem, a song, instrumental music, painting, etc., which basically have an artistic value. They may also have utility value, but their primary value is artistic. We may use a beautiful vase as a paperweight. Vase may be useful in this respect, but its primary value is its artistic work. There is also an expectation such that the art called architecture. For example, a building is designed taken into account its use. Even then, famous monuments like Taj Mahal, the rock-cut piece of Ellora are considered as a great work of art. Our artistic inspiration are rooted in our manifold experience of nature. Every human were not only capable of receiving various sensations as form, color, smell, sound, texture, etc., but with the help of reason they would also understand underlying patterns in various natural phenomena. It also shaped their emotional association with nature. Nature provides means to survival. Nature can also abolish life. Nature can be attractive as well as scary. It can be astonishing as well as bewildering. Man's relationship with nature can be contrast chapter of dialogue and conflict. The artistic creation of early human beings, despite the form of nature they were understood them, and the feeling they received rise to. Art has also been an effort of making sense of universe, various phenomena and the process in universe. Human sensitivity, reason, emotionality and imagination result in the rise of civilization. We have seen that at the initial stage of the cultural development, human response the surrounding nature in many different ways as myth, philosophy, religion, arts and science. Artistic exploration and expression was coupled with creativity. Artists flourished with the development of culture, along with nature, society and societal patterns, and even also became a subject matter of art. For a long time, artistic creation was associated with religion. This association of art with life, nature, religion and morality continued till 18th century. The rapid growth of science and technology affect every field of life. Art too was not an expectation to it. Art became more independent. The criteria of artist evolution no longer become from religion and ethics. Art determines its own criteria. Art reveals itself in many forms of realistic symbol, entertaining, etc. Technology starts playing a major role in artistic creation. Earlier there was a major distinction between the art and the craft. The gap between the two increased later on. Utility has a primary importance in craft. Handcrafts are used mainly for decoration. Creativity has limited the scope of craftsmanship. Patterns are repeatedly used. Patterns are beautifully attractive, but it is not independent creation of an artist. That is why mehndi or rangoli is called as craft. It takes skill to draw the pattern in exactly same manner from the print format, but it does not make such a creativity. It takes both creativity and skill, though to create new pattern in reality. Art also needs some kind of craftsmanship, and crafting too is incomplete without artistic touch.